Welcome to the Elevating IT podcast. I'm your host, Mike Brooks, here joined today with Frank DiBenedetto. What's up, Frank?
What's going on, Mike? You look very sort of subdued today.
Subdued. I'm exhausted, man. It's been a long week. I've been busy preparing for a couple of events that we're going to. Right, we're going to be at GlueX next week, and then we will be at boot camp the following week, and then the week after that we'll be going to ASCII. So I've been doing all the preparation for getting the booths ready. We've got virtual booths. GlueX is all 100% virtual. Then Robin's boot camp event is half virtual, half live. So busy.
I got my second COVID shot on Wednesday.
Congratulations. How'd you feel?
Not bad. I gotta say, I got it at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, and they told me make sure you move your arm so it doesn't get real sore. So my buddies wanted to go to this place called Swing Loose. They had set this up. It just happened to be the same night. So I was like, I don't know if I could swing a golf club. It's like one of those golf simulators. So I went anyway, and I didn't drink anything. I drank a lot of water, and I swung a golf club, and I felt fine until about midday yesterday. I started to feel like a truck hit me. So I took some Tylenol and took a nap, watched the Rangers lose to the Islanders, woke up today, I feel fine. My arm's not sore, no fever. So I was very, very mild. I just felt like you had said you felt like you were getting sick. That's what I felt like. So
yeah. It wore me out completely for a day. It was like I was just exhausted. I couldn't get out. I could barely operate. It was just run down and felt like you were getting really, not just getting sick, but really getting sick. And then it just goes away.
Yeah. So weird.
Very weird. So today we're going to talk a little bit about I framed this here for folks listening and watching this as the secret to success. And what I have always found, and this is not just not just me, but people who I've known who've been successful. There's one key to success that everybody has in common, I think, and that is they're always reaching up to someone else who's been there, somebody who can help them, a mentor. So that's been key in my career, and again in just about everybody's that I've known who's been successful in life, from anybody from just an average Joe to some of the biggest people on the planet. Bill Gates has mentors, people he looks up to. I mean, there's something to be said for that, and thought we would talk about that today. Get you to do a little sharing on who's motivated you over the years and helped you with success. But before we do that, I also have a little reveal, a big reveal because we're going to GlueX next week. Are you ready for this, Frank? This is huge.
I'm ready.
Are you sitting down?
I am.
Okay. So, we're going to GlueX next week, of course. Now, you are speaking on Wednesday. So GlueX is the 4th, May 4th and May 5th. You're speaking Wednesday at 1:00.
Correct.
That is our breakout session. And on the breakout session, do you want to tease it a little bit and talk about what you talked about first before I do our reveal? Because it's important that everybody go to this session, and I'm going to tell you why. But maybe you'll give a little tease.
Yeah, it's we're giving you the secrets to how to sell. I was talking to somebody the other day about my MSP. They were asking, and they were just like, you've got some great numbers, and how have you done this? And I said, I just presented on, or just put the slide deck together, I should say, on this, that will be presented next week about just what I do. And there's really 4 things that I follow. It's pretty simple because I could tell you that if it was complicated and difficult and hard, I wouldn't do it.
Right.
So it works really well. Whenever I decide not to follow my own recipe, I every once in a while I have to prove to myself that it's a mistake, so then I go back to doing what works. But anyway, it's four secrets to successful selling is basically what it boils down to, and we give it to you straight up there.
Awesome. So we are really excited to be a part of GlueX. We've not sponsored the Glue event yet. This is our first year. We're a platinum sponsor, and we wanted to do something really special to get people to come to that breakout session. We want people to hear this message. So we have.
And let me tell you also why. Let me tell you why we decided to try to do some of the GlueX is because IT Glue has probably had one of the most impactful, had one of, I should say, the most impact on my business operationally in the last couple of years, and especially during COVID, where we had a little bit of an opportunity to work on the business. I remember I came to you and said, we have to be a sponsor at this because I didn't buy into the software initially. I remember, I saw Dave Goldie, who used to work for them, speak, a bunch of times. And, to me, it was just like, it's documentation. We have that stuff in our PSA tool. But as we grew and as we scaled, SOPs became so important. And IT Glue has been so pivotal. So that's the main reason, why I wanted to do something with these guys, just because I just think that what they created is just brilliant, and really every MSP should be using them.
Yeah, it's a great company, and we're very excited to do it. I wish it was live, but c'est la vie. But here's the deal. We are doing a raffle. So we're going to do a booth raffle, your typical booth raffle. We've got an Oculus VR headset, really, really cool. You can either, if you're a gamer, you can give it, play with it, or give it to your kids. So either way, you're going to enjoy it. But that's for the booth, right? That's for people to come to the booth, engage with us at the booth. But we want to do another raffle just for people who come to the breakout session. So now your odds of winning are bigger, right? Because there's other breakout sessions. So not everybody's going to come to ours, even though we think they should. So I've got a really special prize that we've got here. I've got it right next to me. So I thought I'd show this. Are you ready for this, Frank? You're sitting down?
Is it a guitar? I see a guitar back there.
That's a bass. This is the prize.
Wow. Where'd you get that, man? Aren't those hard to get? Or impossible to get?
So it would be easier for me to get on the next SpaceX mission than to get one of these.
Somebody said it's easier to get a COVID shot than to get PlayStation 5, right?
Yeah, the PS5. So now I can't take credit for, I'm going to leave it here. Excuse me. I can't take credit. I was talking to a friend, another marketing person who kind of is a mentor to me, which is what we're talking about today. We're going to talk about that in a moment. But this person, I was just bouncing ideas. I'm like, I really want to drive people to come to that breakout session. What do you think I should do special? And the advice was get a PS5 or an Xbox game, the new Xbox console. And Xbox One is just as hard to get as the PS5. And the reason I guess they're hard to get is because of the supply chain issues we've had over the year of the pandemic, right? People have been, people have been working from home, and it was actually, there's a person I follow on Twitter. I found this person. I had to follow him to literally get notifications for when these were available. And he said that in an interview, this person said that because everybody's working at home, the components for computers, everybody needed a computer. I guess components were starting to get hard to get. So the things that needed to go in this were in short supply because everybody's getting new computers. So it really messed up the whole supply chain. And this became something that was really impossible to get. It's something that sells out anyway when they release a new one, but it became that much harder to get. And there's people have been trying, I feel bad because there's people who've been trying to get this for their kids since Christmas. And they can't get it. Here, I've got it, and I'm going to give it away as a raffle prize when, some kids would have been like, my hope is maybe somebody who wins it gives it to their kid or something. but I kind of feel like I stole this almost away from somebody. I feel like it was like a major accomplishment to get it, but it was also I stole it away from somebody who could enjoy it. So the gentleman I follow on Twitter posts notifications when they go on sale. He gets advanced notice, and it went on sale at Target on Wednesday or Tuesday or Wednesday. And I got up at 6 a.m., sat on my computer watching the screen, and the notification came that they dropped. I got in the queue. It was in my cart, and then it got pulled out of my cart, and I didn't think I was going to get it. And then the last second I saw it come up that one of the stores within 50 miles had it, and I bought it, and I got it, and it said order's been placed, success. I was like, oh my God, I felt like I won the freaking lottery. It was unbelievable. And this is after I've been trying to get this for a couple months now, and I've failed. I really thought we were going to get to GlueX after I had promised that we were going to give this. And at the time that I got the idea from this person, I didn't know that it was the hardest thing on the planet to get.
Right.
And then they're laughing at me. They're like, yeah, well, that's why that's going to be such a good prize.
You know, I've never been into video game stuff. I had like Sega in like college, but that was like nothing compared to what people. I just don't have a real interest in that stuff. But I do know it's like impossible to get because every once in a while, like I look and see like what's the big hot toy you can't get for Christmas, and I mean you could always get it because you could always pay something stupid. Someone will sell it to you. That's the one good thing about like eBay or whatever the other marketplaces are, Craigslist, whatever. Before I remember remember Cabbage Patch Kid dolls?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I remember my mom like going like to Child World. You remember Child World?
Yes.
Did you have those by you? We had Child World to get these dolls. I remember like looking. I was little. I don't know how old I was. I'm probably like 10. I'm like, what are you doing? Oh, it's you're gonna be worth something someday. I remember it came with like a birth certificate, and they had like names and all this nonsense.
Yeah, that's
People would line up, but like back then,
now,
there was no marketplace to buy it. Like unless you were in the parking lot, and somebody's like, "Hey, buddy, you want to?" But like now, if you think about it, you bought that legitimately, which is why it was so difficult to get. Like if you went on to eBay, you probably could have spent $5,000 or something stupid and got it, right? But
yeah, and actually, the advice I got, because that was another thing, is people were asking him how do I get this. I want to bring this guy actually on. I'm going to invite him to come on as a guest because I think he's interesting. It's this just a guy who works at an online magazine, a tech magazine, and he's amassed an incredible following on social media by being the guy who is helping people get
where to go and get stuff.
He has 300,000 followers, active people. I mean, it's pretty neat story, but he advised not to buy it from anybody who offers it unless you're going to pick it up in person. So he's like, the only place to get it is Craigslist, and you have to literally go pick it up and make sure that they're giving you what they say, because everything else is a scam. People are selling these. It's just scam after scam. He's got all these stories about people who bought these and got ripped off. And he said, go on Craigslist and don't spend more than $800. He's like, people can charge $200 to $300 more than it. But it's interesting. It's really good advice. But I thought, do a little tease for this. So anybody who comes to the breakout session Wednesday at 1:00 at GlueX is entered to get this bad boy.
Yes. Don't come to hear my advice on how to sell and make money. Come because you get a PlayStation.
Come for the PlayStation. No, well, listen, the reason we got this is to make sure that we're giving people every reason to come and get their learning on, because it's going to be great information. So we just wanted to give another special incentive, just down on the phone. Huge. But I could actually keep it if you feel it's not something we should do. I mean,
No, we'll do. You keep it, and I'll do is we'll raffle off your address to your house.
Right. First person to come knock on my door gets it.
No worries.
Anyway, all right. So let's talk about. We want to talk a little bit about mentors and who inspired you over the years. I mean, do you agree with that assessment? First of all, that
Yes.
successful people tend to reach up. I think to me that's the number one shortcut to getting to success is just go find somebody who's already done it and ask them how they did it.
Yep. So a couple of things stand out to me. I remember, so you go back to the beginning. I had an engineering degree. I was going to go to grad school because I was just trying to delay getting a job as an engineer, which I really didn't want to do. And my uncle, who owns a successful financial services firm, said, "Hey, if you want to work for me for the summer," he's like, I don't know anything about technology. He goes, "But I do know about business." And he goes, I can assure you that I can teach you that side of things. So, from the earliest days, he had an impact on me, teaching me, really good business acumen and really just grounded fundamental type stuff. Things about like how to communicate with the customers, getting things in writing, just how to deal with conflict. And I learned a lot initially from him. And then we talked about this on the last show. I ended up getting involved with some network marketing stuff for a short period of time. And while that really wasn't my thing, what I did learn or what I got exposed to were all these books and, timeless classics. And I remember, I don't remember who said it, Zig Ziglar or something, but they said success leaves clues. So like you're talking about, like, why would you reinvent it when so many people have models that you could just follow and just do it? And so that always stuck out in my mind. I remember Nido Qubein spoke, and I saw him years before I saw him at Robin Robbins events. But he spoke, and I remember he was talking about reading books, and he said, "What a absolute like I forget what he called it. I'll call it like a privilege." But he said, like, if you think about it, you could have somebody who spent their entire life figuring something out, right? Maybe, let's say the latter part of their life, 30, 40, 50 years of their life. And they tell you everything in a book that you could read in a day, right? He said, like, what an absolute like privilege that is to be able to do that, like, and over, like different people. So he talked about reading books, which I think, different books have had different impacts, but in general, I think reading has been really good. I can tell you, from this industry, in the early days, I didn't know like that there was anybody to even follow. You're talking 15 to 20 years ago. Like, I just thought it was every man for himself. Like, you were just a local IT guy and, that was it. And little by little, I got exposed and I realized there was an industry called managed services. And I was kind of doing managed services, didn't know it was called that. And I didn't know there was tools available. And then I had a client and their telecom vendor was trying to sell them managed services. And they were like, "Nah, we would never buy it from you because we use Two River Tech, but you should talk to Frank." So that guy said, "Hey, I have an extra ticket to go see Robin Robbins in Newark, New Jersey." Newark's not that great, but it's close to the airport. I thought he was just punking me, like I was going to go to Newark and get like mugged or something. But that's when I first met Robin. And she, being the marketer that she was, and she spoke to me because I had followed what's his name again, the marketer,
Dan Kennedy.
I followed Dan Kennedy's stuff, and she was like basically saying, "I'm a disciple of Dan Kennedy's. I've just taken all this and translated for the IT space." So I was like, "Wow, this is perfect. Like, look how much time I could save." I just spend some money and it's done for me. So it made a lot of sense. And then she was, beckoning me to go to Nashville. And that was, I think, the first time I got around any kind of big group of my peers. And that's when I was like, wow, there's a lot I can learn here. And then I could tell you that there was a time where I used Autotask, and I made a choice over Connectwise at the time. and went down to Miami. And at the time, the user base of the auto taskers I wasn't learning anything from those, like my peers. So I ended up going to Connectwise quite simply because they'd been around longer, and the bigger and the more successful MSPs were using it. So I wanted to get exposed to, you never want to be the smartest guy in the room. So I wanted to get around those people to learn from. So I could say without fail now, 11 years later, that Robin's community that she's built has probably, had the most influence on my career in IT, not only from the obvious, like the marketing and the stuff that she provides, but, just the speakers that I've been exposed to, motivational speakers, authors, some books that she's provided, just other vendors. It's really had a really positive impact. So I think collectively that, that's kind of the path that I've followed, and, it's opened other doors too, even like as audit, I've had opportunities to have conversations with CEOs of other companies that maybe I wouldn't have had an opportunity to do. And it's always a learning experience. So, I always try to get around people where I could learn from and see what they do. And I just follow it. It's not that hard, really. It's just, I think, if you follow a system that's proven to work and you don't try to change it and you're consistent with it, it'll work.
Right. Yeah, and that's the key. Is when you get that advice, to actually take that advice. That's the hardest part. People, I think, join these things, or they find a mentor and the mentor tells them, here's what you should do. And they go, yeah, but I'm not going to do that.
Well, yeah, because, the people are programmed to conserve calories. I was listening to somebody speak the other day, and they were saying that the human body burns, like your brain burns more calories at rest than other like species do, like when they're not at rest, so like your brain's burning more calories than like a cheetah chasing after a gazelle, looking for its meal. And but the human body is programmed to conserve, right? It's like natural to want to conserve energy. So you're biologically programmed to not want to burn energy, or do much. Like you want to sort of, I don't want to call it lazy, but you kind of are predispositioned and to being lazy and not getting out there and getting after it. So people are always looking for an angle or a shortcut. It's no doubt.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Yeah, I what you said about books, that's a great piece of advice. Just because I'm looking at my bookshelf. I probably buy more books in a week. Yeah. There's some weeks like I could buy 4 books in 1 week. That's my big addiction. Is I hear about a good book, I got to read it. And I'm always getting marketing books, sales books. And I'll tell you, I just went through a book that I love called, and I got to make sure I get it right, The Science of Selling. Not scientific selling. Yeah, The Science of Selling.
Okay.
Really, really good. I've been talking to the author, and I'm gonna actually have the author come on the show, do some training with us. Great sales book. Very psychology. I love the psychology stuff. So it's really deep psychology stuff. But as I was reading the book and going through it, I just felt like I was getting to know the author more and more. It's an interesting thing. By the time I'm to the end of the book, and I'm like 90% to the end, I really felt like I knew the guy. I'd reached out to him on LinkedIn. Now I'm talking to him on LinkedIn. I built a relationship by just reading a book. And this is 10 years of this guy's life. He told me it took him 10 years to write this book. And I just consumed it in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, they've proven my point. Hey, I gotta leave us. I gotta leave you with a story. We were pretty busy this week with some really good prospects, and so there was a prospect that we met with probably about 2 years ago, and they chose not to use us, and it turns out they didn't really use anybody. So 2 years later, we're presenting to them, and there's two proposals. One was almost 10,000 of MRR, and the other one was a little over 7,000. There's two different options. One was more cloud based. So anyway, they kind of like were like, we just want a proposal, and we did an audit 2 years ago, and they kind of ran me ragged. So sometimes you just give the client or the prospect what they're asking for. And it was a busy week, so I had two other deals that we closed. So I was just like, look, let me just give them what they're asking for. So we had both proposals, and I went through the proposals. They're all done on Zoom. I went through it with both of these guys, and so we went through proposal A, then we went through proposal B, and it was hilarious because it was as if he explained exactly why I should have presented it using an audit report. So he's like, we have to go back to the business owner. So they're part of the decision-making process, but they're not the business owner. So they needed to go back. And the guy said to me, this is really thorough, but I don't know how you expect me to go back and explain this to the business owner, because, we're not that technical. He goes, this is way more, I forget what he said. It was like way more in the weeds than I thought we would get. And he's like, I don't even know where to start. So I'm like laughing to myself. I was like, first of all, I gave you what you asked for, but then shame on me because I should have said, no, you're not getting what you asked for. I'm going to give you what you should have. So I showed him what I used in the previous meeting that I just had gotten off of. And I said, let me just show you the audit report that I would have given to you, but you told me you just wanted the proposal. And I showed it to them, and I kind of just went real quick, and they were like, "Oh my God, this is so much easier." They're like, "We could present this, to the business owner in a second." So what I wound up doing was working backwards, and so they already had the proposal. So I did the audit report to match the proposal, and sent it to them, so they could show, hey, here's where we are, here's where we could be. And I told them, I said, listen, I said, here's what you're going to do. I said, you're just going to go through the same thing with another MSP who's going to give you another proposal, and you're just going to be looking at the numbers. I said, I'm sure we could both agree that the cheapest isn't the best, and maybe even the most expensive is not the best, but how are you going to make your decision? Or how are you going to guide whoever the business owner is, right? And they're like, yeah, it's true. So I said, tell you what, I said, if you fall in love with another MSP or that you're looking at, I said, I'm happy to do an audit on that proposal. And I said, you could take the name off. I don't care who they are. I said, give me the proposal. I'll review it. I'll do an audit report for you, and I'll compare my solution to theirs. And they thought that was like the best thing ever. So we'll see if I get the deal. But, it was like it was kind of interesting. I let them tell me how they would buy from me, and then they tricked me at the end and said, we can't buy from you this way. We know what you're talking about, right? And I was like, once again, I proved why I follow the process, and I use something that doesn't confuse or complicate the sale. And a proposal is the worst presentation tool ever. So.
Of course, people, humans can't make a decision without coming up with a point of reference to compare it to. It's just the way we are. You don't make any decision without comparing it to something.
Yep.
Nobody does. So when a person's calling you in as an MSP to buy, to come and pitch them, they're going to make a point of reference for themselves to compare you to. It's going to be to the other IT providers that, the one they have, the one they could use, or nobody. That's going to be the comparison. And what are they going to compare to if you don't do your job? Is price. It's always going to be about price. That's what they're always going to, their mind is going to find a point of reference. They have to justify what they're spending in some way. And the only point of reference they can have, the only comparison point, is going to be price, unless you steer it elsewhere as the MSP. And that's what you have to do as an MSP. And I say you as a royal you, is every MSP has to give them a point of reference. And the way to get them off from creating their own is to show them what this stuff means and make sure they understand what you're saying. If it's confusing and they can't create a point of reference, they can't create that comparison point out of what you've presented to them. So they're going to focus on price. So
Right.
the job of the MSP is to put this information and guide the presentation, build the whole presentation from your first moment you walk through the door to when you present this, to guide them to where you want them to go, and to cover what you want to cover, the way you want to cover it, the way you should cover it. And that's what they need anyway, right? Like, because you get to the end and they go, this is too confusing.
Agreed. Well, I'll keep you posted. I'll let you know how that one goes. But we got a couple of good deals. I think we added 10,000 of MRR this week. So
awesome, good stuff. We'll have to examine more. But this is the end of our podcast. I'm going to go play with my audit.
Your audit ball.
See that? It's hard to do this looking at the other. There we go.
You got to bounce it.
Oh.
It changes colors.
Look at that.
All right, Mike and everybody. You guys have a good weekend. We'll see you in a week.
See you in a week. Have a great one, everybody. Keep on elevating IT. See ya.